From the Joe Louis Arena here in Detroit, it's Gil Santos along with Bob Cousy. Game 3, Celtics and Pistons. Celtics lead it 2-0, winning the first one by 34 points, winning 34 points, the second one by 7. But the second game, a game where, even though it was close in the fourth quarter, somehow the Celtics always seemed in control of that one. So, Cousy, the question I have for you is, do you think the Pistons, the way the Celtics are playing, the way Detroit is playing, do you think the Pistons are capable of winning a game in this series?
I think they're capable of winning one, and if they do, I think it'll be this one tonight. Perhaps the home crowd will give them enough of a boost and their confidence, which is, I think, the problem. I think they came into Boston thinking that they couldn't win the game, and that's pretty much the way they played. So if they play with greater intensity, and if the Celtics let down, I think this will be necessary. They'll have a shot at it.
We'll be right back in just a moment.
Listen to what
playoff series. He has scored a grand total of 13 points and had something like 12 or 13 rebounds in the 2 ball games. Why has he been so effective in this series, given the fact that he has played so well against the Celtics in the regular season for the last several years?
I think his play reflects the play of the entire team, frankly. They've all underachieved statistically and every other way, I think, in the first couple of games, and for the reason we talked about momentarily before the anthem, and even in the second game. You know, Cleveland came in believing they could beat the Celtics, and they overachieved. This outfit came in thinking that they couldn't, and knowing they couldn't beat the Celtics, and played accordingly. And Laimbeer's play, in fairness to Bill, in his first game, he got into early foul trouble, and I think that somewhat curtailed his effectiveness, and his wife has been ill, and he had that on his mind, supposedly. The second game, he played with more intensity, but this is playoffs, Gil, you know?
Yep.
And now talent comes into play, and anytime you've got a 6'11" center that has to go outside to generate his offense in playoff competition against a team like the Celtics, you're in trouble. And defensively and rebounding-wise, his lack of speed and quickness, again, against the increased intensity of the opponent, or in this case, the Celtics in the first couple of games, didn't get the job done with the same consistency that he showed during the season. It is a different season, Gil. You know, we've talked about that. It's hard for the fans to visualize this, but believe me when I tell you that everyone, for whatever reason, jacks it up a little bit in the playoffs, and they play with greater intensity. So now the playoffs are dominated by the people with the multi-talent. You know, the mediocre talent either falls by the wayside or underachieves.
And how about the experience factor? The Celtics have been world champions. They're the defending world champions. Detroit has not advanced beyond this round in the playoffs for several years. Does that play a factor too?
Well, that obviously doesn't do Detroit any good. You know, it's really, this whole series is, and this game tonight, we started to talk before the anthem again, is simply predicated on how hard the Celtics want to work at it.
Yep.
First game, they came out with great intensity, and they won by 34 points. The second game, Detroit worked out a little harder. Boston let down a bit, and it provided a closer game, but in my opinion, at least, from watching it, Boston was never threatened, even though they were only 4 points up with a minute or 2 to go. I don't think Detroit ever had a good shot at winning it, unless they got a lucky bounce. But Boston had control of it all the way. So, including this game tonight, I think Detroit's going to give it their best shot. They've got a, well, I was going to say it's an enthusiastic crowd, not a sellout, far from it. So the fans here are reflecting the same kind of negative approach to this as the team has in the first couple. So, but in any event, if they're going to give it a shot, it'll be this one, but it'll require a letdown on the part of the Celtics. If the Celtics come out and play up to their potential, it doesn't matter what Detroit does.
You've got to find someone to slow Larry Bird down or to stop him. Do you think Detroit has anybody that defensively can do that? Not stop him, because nobody can stop him.
No one in the league has that kind of a threat. Certainly not Detroit, where their primary weakness is their defense. You know, you've got to find a man. Tripucka, it's like no chance against Bird. You have to deny him initially, try to push him out as far away as possible. Then you got to worry about the backdoor pass, so you need good support defense. They haven't been getting this. When he uses that little pick low, you need a jump switch. The man guarding the pick has got to jump out. They're your officials, by the way. You've got to box him out every time because he goes to that board so effectively, and then you got to do a lot of playing, and I don't think they've done any of those things.
Thomas, Long, Tripucka, Roundfield, and Laimbeer for Detroit. Isiah and now Laimbeer, who has not shot well in this series so far. Hits his first shot. Well, maybe that'll will get in cooking. Danny Ainge will bring it back for the Celtics, trailing 2-0 here in the early going.
That bodes well for the big guy, trying to get him a hot hand early, but good defense.
Nice play. Dennis Johnson double clutches in the middle, gets the bound. Excellent work by Dennis Johnson, and it's tipped in by Laimbeer.
Oh, boy, that's a bad...
Cedric Maxwell is off the bench cheering Laimbeer. Detroit on the other end, the Celtics with a steal. They're 3-on-1. McHale with the pass from Ainge. The hoop. 4-2 Celtics.
Hey, that's a bad psychological blow for
Laimbeer.
Detroit and Laimbeer.
Laimbeer.
Tipping in a bound after going outside on McHale and throwing in an 18-footer.
And we have a foul on Dennis Johnson. Be the first team foul of the basketball game, and of course the first in the Celtics. We've played 1 minute here in Detroit, and a 4-2 Celtics lead as they go for a 3-0 lead in the series. Isiah Thomas averaging 23.5 points and almost 12 assists per game. Laimbeer scored all the points for.
He doesn't like that shot. It's not a high percentage shot for him, but it gives him a better shot at picking up a rebound. Excuse me, a foul. Ainge from
nice
15.
move to get around Isiah, and he appears to have his outside shooting touch back. Laimbeer clanks one, and the loose ball is taken by Roundfield, but he throws it into the backcourt. Boston ball. Boston ball on the turnover, backcourt violation against Detroit.
You can't run an effective half-court offense if you've got a take the first shot philosophy, and that's what Detroit does constantly. You know,
Laimbeer is the only guy that shot for them so far.
They have no offensive patience, and that's fine in a fast break, but it won't run a half-court offense for you.
Ainge is left open, so he buries it again. Well, he killed him with 25 in Tuesday's game, and he's hit his first 2 here in this one.
That'll take care of the collapse off the guard philosophy in a hurry.
Johnny Long outside.
Oh, that kid has shot very, very well in this series. Long.
It's an 8-6 Celtics lead. Bird touching the ball for the first time on offense. Spinning on Tripucka, just hitting that little baseline leaner. Celtics up by 4 points at 10-6. Tripucka.
Detroit has started out this way in the first couple of games, hitting extremely well in the first half from outside. The problem is, as the game wears on and fatigue factor sets in, Bird from out.
Three-pointer, no.
It's the outside shooting that's going to be effective negatively, obviously, quicker than going in. That's where they've got to find him. They've got to involve him in the fast break, and they've got to go to him low inside. They started doing that in the second game.
It's tied at 10 with 9 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Only one team foul has been called, and that one was on the Celtics. Bird does not hit it. Roundfield the rebound. Roundfield at 11 points and 6.5 rebounds a game in the playoffs. This is the furthest Dan Roundfield has been in the playoffs, I think, in his career. Nice move by John Long.
When a guy can hit from out and put it to the floor effectively, and that was with his left hand, the way Long did, why, he's going to be an effective guard in this league.
Celtics working it to Parish. Little up fake. Rainbow tied again at 12.
Laimbeer's got to push Robert out a little further if he's going to have any shot at stopping that shot. He's giving him the position too easily.
Detroit smoking hot here in the first quarter. That's 4 points for Dan Roundfield. The Pistons have only missed 2 shots, and they've hit 7, so they're 7 of 9. Parish, now Ainge left open. 3 for 3 for Danny Ainge. He got decked after the shot, but nothing was called. Tied at 14.
About time for Chuck Daly to start rethinking that strategy on Ainge, I would think.
Ainge got his hands on the ball. The basket does not count. He fouled. No, it's going to be on Robert Parish prior to Roundfield taking it to the hoop. That is the first on the Chief and the second on the Celtics.
There's the move. Roundfield puts it to the floor, takes it in. They started to do this more effectively in the second game. The Detroit big men took it to the basket instead of settling for that quick outside shot. It worked very well the first quarter, and then for some reason they forgot about it. It's hard to form habits all season long, you know, being an outside shooting team, fast break team, and then changing your philosophy in the playoffs. And this is, I think, the problem they've had.
Foul was on Laimbeer offensive. McHale, that little jump hook leaning in, doesn't get it. Roundfield out to Thomas, and the Pistons come back tied at 14. Isiah went all the way through and then tossed it out for a 25-footer or 20-footer. McHale a rebound quickly off to Johnson. Celtics a 3-on-3. DJ, Celtics lead. Celtics look very crisp here in the early going.
Celtics shooting with great confidence at the moment.
16-14. Celtics by a pair. 7:20 left here in the first quarter. Long trying to post up Johnson. He traveled with it, however.
That's the problem. He puts it to the floor well, taking it in. He shoots well from out, but stationary, he walks with it all the time, and that's why they have trouble using him.
Detroit has averaged 14 turnovers throughout the playoffs. The Celtics at 17. Larry Bird. Nice give and go to Danny Ainge, who's hit 4 shots in 4 attempts. The Celtics lead by 4.
Is that pretty? Bird loves to hit the offensive man after the defense has passed him by. That's when the defense relaxes, and that's the time for a good passer to try to pick out that.
Ainge with a steal. He's got a layup. Oh, Isiah fouled him. And it's 2 shots for Danny Ainge. Intentional foul is called. Did he call that an intentional foul, or did he call it an act of shooting? Yes.
No, he called a breakaway. Yeah,
called it intentional on the breakaway.
Yeah, Danny had to step on the field. That's exactly what that rule tries to avoid. It's a good one.
6:46 to go. First quarter. Celtics are up by 4 at 18-14. Intended for the private use of our audience. Danny Ainge with the first of 2 free throws. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Boston Celtics Basketball Club and WBZ TV is prohibited. Ainge with 10 and the Celtics leading 20-14. The Celtics have 9 of 14 from the floor. Detroit is 7 of 9. And the Celtics lead by 6 points. Tripucka on the switch picked up by Ainge. Laimbeer off the mark. Bird the rebound.
Nice block. McHale got a piece of that Laimbeer jumper.
Did he? I didn't see that.
Celtics trapped Thomas on that particular sequence.
Johnson tried to hit Bird on the back door, threw it a little too high and hit the rim. The steal by Johnny Long. That's the first careless mistake the Celtics have made tonight.
Yeah, Dennis just a little lackadaisical there. Not expecting the pressure. They haven't been getting a lot from the Detroit guards, so he got a little careless with it. But I was saying Boston trapped a moment ago. Against a team that is the first shot, that takes the first shot that shows, a trap can be much more effective because in order to beat the trap, you've got to swing the ball to that weak side, and Detroit does that reluctantly.
Isiah Thomas with the Celtics leading by 6 points and 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. This time they move the ball around, but then the first shot that does show is that one by Tripucka. Laimbeer, the rebound, and he knocks it back down.
After 4-2 with his bounce on that.
Bird trying to lead McHale, but Kevin was fouled by Dan Roundfield. That'll be the second Detroit team foul. Each team has 2. Possession foul. There it is.
Yeah, it is. Dan has his hands full guarding McHale, as we've already told you probably too often, but he's giving up probably 3 inches and some weight. And really, his options are so limited. He tries to play him a half a man to the middle or complete front, but then he doesn't get the weak side help quickly enough, and Celtics have thrown a lob pass effectively, and just Kevin has beaten on the poor guy.
Isiah missing the shot, the foul on Danny Ainge, and Thomas will shoot 2. 5:08 left here in the first quarter. There's Danny Ainge, who is off to a smoking start in this one with 10 points in this quarter.
I think they're going to have to rethink their strategy, maybe drop off Dennis. The problem with what they're doing, unlike Cleveland committed themselves completely. They said, hey, give the guards the shot. You just drop down and make sure that they can't make the pass in before they made the pass. These guys are halfway, you know what I'm saying? They give a little fake to the ball, and they try to drop in, but they're not convinced, I think, that the strategy can work. They've got to do one or the other. Either drop all the way off or get up there and give them pressure.
Parish is hitting that rainbow jumper over Laimbeer with consistency. He's got 6 points in the ball game. Long trying to post on Johnson. Roundfield outside. Bird the rebound. Celtics so far with a 6-point lead, but very much controlling play. Bird trying to alley-oop to McHale, and a foul is going to be called on Ainge. And a technical foul
on Thomas. It should be, because Thomas hit Ainge in the back. Yeah, that's good call by Mathis.
Let's take a look at it.
Watch now. Ainge fouls him. What's the big deal? You know, see?
Okay.
Absolutely. That's a good call.
Yes,
No question. It was an aggressive action, and Ainge, could have very easily turned around and popped him. But fortunately, he had the presence of mind to absorb the front.
Larry Bird, by the way, is averaging 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 5.5 assists in the playoffs. The Celtics have a 7-point lead on the free throw. That was the fourth team foul on the Celtics. So they're at the limit.
Again, the quick outside shot. It's just not going to beat the Celtics with that kind of play. I can't believe they can't get that through their minds.
Third personal foul on Danny Ainge, loose ball foul. With 4:27 to go in the quarter, Danny has been off to a great start, but Ray Williams is going to come in to replace him because he's just picked up his third personal.
That's one of the problems with this Detroit team is they really are a bad mix, chemistry-wise. In other words, the shooters, for the most part, are all outside shooters. And when you've got outside shooters, you've got guys that are anxious to get their hands on the ball and let it fly, because they know it's not going to swing to the next guy and they may not get it back.
Yeah.
So it's literally, as I say, a first shot that shows offense. But you're just not going to beat a good team from outside. I think Chuck Daly would be better off finding four guys with stone fingers or 5 guys on that bench who can't shoot at all and tell them, hey, go do battle underneath,
Celtics lead is 5. Excellent pass by Dennis Johnson, but Robert Parish is called for travel.
Good call by Cousy. Robert took the 2 little quickies trying to get control of the ball.
Detroit now within 5 with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Isiah double clutching.
Oh, wow.
Not bad, eh?
Nice move.
Pistons now within 3 as they start to come back. Just under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Isaiah's first hoop, but a spectacular one.
Dennis Johnson has it knocked out of bounds by Larry Bird has it knocked out of bounds trying to feed Johnson. Tripucka knocked it out. Celtics with 13 on the shot clock after the inbounds pass is made. Parish is doubled up. That'll leave somebody open.
Probably not a good idea to double off Bird.
Little air ball as it was ticked. Ahead it comes to Long. Misses the layup. Rebound by Dennis Johnson. How about that? Celtics are 4 on 3. Bird trying to go around Roundfield. The basket will not go. That'll be the 3rd team foul on Detroit. And it is a possession foul, not in the act of shooting.
Good pursuit, but here it is. Bird with the good fake. You can't respond to the Bird fakes. If anything, and Detroit has said they want to play him that way. They want to give him outside. As dangerous as he is, you got to go to the percentage, and they say don't go for the fakes. Make sure he isn't able to put the ball on the floor and drive, and give him the outside shot if necessary with minimal pressure. But that time, Roundfield didn't listen to his own advice, really.
Benson, who has just checked in for Roundfield, knocks it out of bounds.
Good pursuit, by the way, on that last breakaway by Long that was missed by Williams and DJ. They combined to do a good job on the missed layup.
Thomas stealing the inbounds pass that was intended for McHale. Detroit can get to within 1 if they score on this trip, and they do not. Ray Williams the rebound. Celtics have cooled over the last couple of minutes. Williams on the baseline. Robert the rebound. Doesn't get it. Larry the rebound. Doesn't get it. Robert the rebound. We're going to get a foul on the Celtics. Loose ball on Parish.
That's okay. That's a good job. Robert and Larry both rushed their layups a bit after. Here it is. Well, that's the end of the play there. But it's a foul well earned, I'll tell you. When you do that kind of damage on the offensive board, I'm sure Casey doesn't mind giving up a foul.
All right, we have just under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. The Celtics are up by 3 at 27-24. 5 Detroit games, a 70% foul shooter. Pistons are 10 of 18. The Celtics are 12 of 20 here in the first quarter. Detroit within 1. 27-26. 2 minutes and 55 seconds to play opening quarter. Cedric Maxwell is in replacing Kevin McHale, or Robert Parish rather. McHale has moved to center. Wedman is in, and a 3-second violation is called on the Celtics.
Well, that's unusual. There wasn't a broken way. They were double posting Bird and McHale. but they must have snuck into that paint. Well, when you know, you got size 17 shoes or whatever, it's not always easy to stay out of the paint.
Battle for the rebound. Bird wins it. Ahead to Scott Wedman. Wedman pulling up, gets it back to Ray Williams. And traveling is Calvin Williams.
A little better hustle by Detroit. Delay a game warning, evidently. Ray Williams a little slow in turning that ball over to Detroit. Yeah, Detroit doing a better job attacking the ball, and it's created 2 or 3 turnovers here in the early going.
All right, Tripucka. Now Thomas trying to post up Ray Williams. Foul is called. And Isiah will be to the line. Detroit has a chance to go in front. Ray Williams picks up the foul. Celtics lineup right now. Williams and Wedman are the guards. McHale at center. Maxwell and Bird the forwards.
Casey did this in the first game. There's the replay, by the way, by Tom. Thomas is going to create something if he posts. You know, despite the fact that he's only, what, 6'1" or so, and he's giving away height on whoever he posts in the league, I suppose. He's going to make something happen. He's going to get a good shot off and get 2, or else he's going to get fouled. Casey used Wedman as a guard in the first game.
Yeah.
Kind of he hadn't done in a while. Yeah. Did he the other night? I don't recall. But so evidently he's going to try to get some double duty out of Scott. So Scott's been playing so well, I don't blame him.
We're tied at 27 apiece. Ray Williams outside breaks the tie and gives the Celtics a 2-point lead. 2 minutes left to play first quarter here in Detroit. Joe Louis Arena, beautiful building. Laimbeer downtown. I realize he's a terrific outside shooter, but I'd let a 6'11" guy go outside as much as he wanted to. Keep him away from the boards.
No, this is what I'm saying. It just makes no sense. You know, the players have got to go where they have to for their offense, but when you're 6'11" and second in the league in rebounding, you're taking yourself out of the play offensively, and it's just not a good idea regardless of how well you shoot from out there.
McHale trying to post up on Benson. The basket does not go, but Kent Benson commits the foul, the 4th team foul in Detroit, and Kevin McHale will go to the line. Kevin, take a look at it.
That is good fake. Benson is not a shot blocker. Usually it's the shot blockers that like to overreact to the fake. Benson is not categorized as such, I don't think. But he still went for the good pump fake by Kevin.
Kevin, in the playoffs, hits both free throws, is hitting at 91% from the line, averaging 20.5 points, 10 rebounds a game, and leads the team in blocks in the playoffs with 12. Celtics by a pair. Isiah blowing by everybody, kicking it back to Tripucka. Rebound by Wedman.
I think McHale is going to be sorry to see Detroit go. He'd like to play him through the...
Oh, great play by Maxwell. Ball doesn't drop for him, however. Isiah ahead to John Long. And it's at 31-31 with a minute to play in the first quarter.
8 points for Long, all from outside. Fine outside shooters, we've told you. He looks for it at the slightest provocation.
Bird trying to post up Tripucka. Turn around. No. Weak side rebound. Wedman, great work. Keeps it alive to McHale. Basket counts, and he's fouled. Great work by the Celtics off the offensive boards.
Good flurry there. Celtics continue to dominate the strongest rebounding team in the league on both boards.
You know, and in the playoffs, the Pistons just aren't doing that well in rebounding. As you take another look at it.
It is. Wedman keeps it alive initially. It finally gets kicked out to McHale, who absorbs one across the nose there by Benson. Still makes the shot.
And makes it a 3-point play. And the Celtics lead 34-31. Pistons averaging 44 rebounds a game in the playoffs, but being well out-rebounded by the Celtics in these first 2 games of the series by an average of almost 10 per game.
Yeah, as we said on top, Detroit is underachieved in just about every category. They're shooting it at about 46%, and for the year they're at 48. The free throw shooting is below their season's average, and they've only scored 106 points a game. They average 116 during the year, so they're definitely not playing their best here in the playoffs.
Detroit with 14 seconds on the clock in the first quarter and waiting for the last shot. The Celtics lead by 1, down to 8 seconds now. Isiah getting it to Tripucka, takes it all the way in. Nothing, and that will be, let's see, is a foul call in the Celtics. It is, with 2 seconds to go in the quarter. Foul is on Kevin McHale, and Tripucka will be at the line for a couple. Benson goes out, and Earl Curitan comes in for Detroit as you look at Chuck Daly. Tripucka with 2 shots. 90% foul shooter in these playoffs. And a chance to give Detroit its first lead of the game.
Old Daly's done a nice job here. Has the best playoff record of any Piston coach ever. Somewhat of a dubious distinction because I don't know that they made the playoffs before this year.
One more for Tripucka. Detroit has its first lead. Bird to inbounds, trying to get it up the floor to Maxwell. It is thrown away, and it'll be Detroit ball at their end. So they've got a chance for another shot. Vinnie Johnson is in for the Pistons. So they've got a chance to go up by 3 at the end of this quarter. Set to go. It comes out to Thomas. 3-pointer.
And they paid the price.
Yeah, they got careless in the last couple of minutes, I thought.
Yeah, and they didn't need the Bird pass, although that's like, trying to inhibit any great passer. Eventually they'll come back and hurt you. You've got to let him do his thing. That time he thought the long pass was required with 2 seconds left, but the ball goes back to the inbound spot if no one touches it. Detroit, with a last-second bomb by Isiah Thomas, made him pay the penalty.
At the end of 1 quarter here at the Joe Louis Arena, the Pistons with their first lead of the game, 38-34. First of all, Detroit's strong finish to that first quarter, and the fact that the Celtics gave up 38 points in that first quarter.
Yeah, the Celtics effort is not, is not their greatest defensively, although they've worked very well on the backboard, I think. They continue to give Detroit the outside shot. They have in the first 2 games as well, and it hasn't hurt them. Detroit has shot well from outside in the first couple when they're fresh and alert. As the game, progresses, I think we pointed this out earlier, the fatigue factor will affect outside shooting teams more quickly and acutely than inside-oriented teams. And I think the Celtics continue to count on that factor working in their favor. The rebuttal of that is that the game, obviously an emotional game for Detroit. They must win it to stay alive or have any chance, in my opinion. So perhaps they can sustain that effort, dig down a little deeper for 48. But I think the Celtics are counting that they will not do that. However, if they can always simply pick up their level of intensity defensively.
Detroit 14 of 25 first quarter. The Celtics 14 of 26. Bird, Parish, Wedman, Johnson, and Maxwell out there for the Celtics as KC changes up here for the second quarter. Robert on the turnaround rainbow, and he is having a fine basketball game. He's 4 of 5 offensively, and he's been playing ping pong off the boards. Or volleyball, actually.
Robert's played well throughout this series. In fact, he's played well throughout the playoffs, in my opinion. He had the one bad game, and everybody jumped all over his back, but that's about it.
4-point Detroit lead on Laimbeer's hoop.
He's been very consistent.
Bird cutting through the middle, however, can't get anything with it. Now Parish, turn around. No. Bird, the offensive glass. No. Rebound to Detroit. Bird hits the deck with Laimbeer. Isiah, now Tripucka. That's offensive. Should have been an offensive foul. They get a kick on. That's even an offensive foul on Tripucka. He leaned that shoulder right in on the drive.
Well, he's going to do that. He doesn't have the muscle as a small forward to go in and knock anybody out of the way, so he'll lean in and try to be cute about it. He picks up a lot of fouls.
Down to 10 on the shot clock as Johnson tries to work a little setup post on Isiah and does it for a pair.
DJ just laid the same kind of lean in on Isiah there, if you noticed.
Yes, it did. 42-38, Pistons by 4. 10.5 minutes to play here in the first half. Laimbeer has played the whole first half so far. Tripucka downtown comes up short. Parish the rebound. Larry on the baseline snuck that little pass inside to Dennis Johnson, who was fouled by Laimbeer. Hey, if Bird sometimes, Cousy, we talk about the shots that he makes and the great moves, but that pass, this was just a thing of beauty here.
There it is here. Well, you see, he knows he's going to draw double team coverage. That's the advantage the offense has, and in this case, a great passer has. He knows whenever he starts to get within penetrating area from the basket, he's going to draw 2 men. So now at 6'9", he's able to look, as that time they were both guards, he just looked over them and looked for the free man, and happened to be DJ.
He just sees so much in such a short span of time.
Yeah. The key is to want to look for that play and obviously have the ability to make the play, but Bird does both.
DJ hits them both, and the Celtics are back within a pair with 10 minutes to go in the first half. 42-40 Detroit. Thomas, Tripucka, Curitan, Tyler out there, and Vinnie Johnson as Laimbeer's gone out. Tripucka, rebound, Wedman, but stolen away by Vinnie Johnson. Ball hanging precariously. Robert Parish gets the rebound.
Good job by Robert.
Celtics are 3-on-2. Bird was cutting to the basket, and Johnson figured he was going to zig when he zagged.
Yeah, that's the problem with passing once you leave the ground. If your target does something unexpected, why, it's hard to adjust once you're in the air.
Curitan. Terry Tyler. Wedman the rebound.
Good swing of the ball that time by Detroit, but again, they make 4 passes to produce an 18-foot shot, you know.
Tyler steals the ball from Maxwell. Max is saying he was fouled, but Mike Mathis says no. Isiah comes back, floats it up. Wedman, another rebound. Loose ball foul, Detroit. That's one of the beauties of having Wedman, a 6'7" playing guard, giving the Celtics extra rebounding power.
Exactly. And with Dennis out there, you know, it's like having 3 small forwards, really.
Oh, the Celtics come back with 9 minutes to play here in the first half, down by 2, looking to tie this trip. Johnson looking to post up Isiah. He's been able to do it so far throughout the series. Off target with that one. Wedman lays it in.
That's what you were talking about a minute ago. Yeah.
Wedman, very strong rebound. That's the 3rd offensive rebound he's picked off in this game, and we're tied at 42. Vinnie Johnson defensively also can't stay with Wedman. Johnson about 6'3".
Yeah, I was going to say it compounds the Detroit problem because Isiah at 6'1", and this kid here is listed at 6'2".
The shot clock never went off, and the Celtics came down luckily with the ball. Detroit went the 24 seconds without the ball hitting the rim. Bird from the corner, no. Going to get a whistle and a foul on the Pistons' Kelly Tripucka. That will be the third team foul in Detroit. First on Tripucka, a possession foul. Inbounds pass, tipped from Curitan to Tyler. Isiah zigging up court. Tyler's
a leaper. He's an explosive scorer.
Yeah, he can get hot in a hurry.
He can run 3 or 4 or 5 hoops quickly on you, and he's an exciting type of player. He's got good speed and quickness. Leaps to the sky, shot blocker.
22nd timeout taken by the Celtics here. Detroit back on top at 44-42, and the Celtics are inquiring as to why the 24-second clock didn't go off on that air ball by was it Thomas or Tripucka? It was Thomas. It was being defended well by Johnson.
Well, the operator dozed off. Probably he's entitled to a little nap.
Is that a hometown doze? Is that not the home court advantage?
To be sure, he won't doze off when the Celtics have the ball.
That's part of the home court advantage, I guess.
He's morally bent. He runs it off in 18.
Oh.
Only kidding, of course, in case the poor malign timer is down here monitoring this broadcast.
Celtics trailing by 2. 7:46 to play here in this second quarter. Detroit, by the way, has scored only 6 points in the first 4.5 minutes of this quarter. So the Pistons have not shot especially well. Trying to get it to Wedman, but he is fouled by Terry Tyler. No, Scott Wedman.
Wow.
Offensive foul.
Again, a lackadaisical pass by Max. Wedman, a little anxious, too anxious to go and get it. Picks up his first, excuse me.
Roundfield is in. Tripucka's out for Detroit. Here come the Pistons leading by 2. Thomas, Johnson, Tyler, Curitan, and Roundfield for Detroit. Vinnie Johnson on the miss. Parish the rebound. The Celtics will just own the backboards here with the lineup they have and the lineup Detroit has. McHale is in replacing Bird. Maxwell, the basket counts, and he is fouled. Hey, old Cedric's really coming around, isn't he, Coos?
Yes, he is. A little breakdown on defensive assignments there helped his cause as well that time. Tyler and it looked like Tyler and Roundfield just got confused on who was guarding whom.
4-0 on team fouls. Detroit has 4. Celtics have none. Maxwell missing the free throw. So the Celtics should be in the shooting foul any moment. Detroit's got a while to go before they do. Bad shot by Detroit. They continue to take the first shot that shows. Only a couple of times do I remember them swinging the ball around.
Well, there's very poor offensive discipline on this team.
Dennis Johnson for the Celtics. Bird is out. McHale is back in. Max, DJ, good swing of the ball. Open man. Wedman, no. Parish, the rebound. Up again. No. Wedman, the rebound. We're going to get a Boston foul on Cedric Maxwell.
See, they're hanging in there, but it's by pure chance, as you can see. The Celtics are just dominating with Laimbeer out. Any chance they had of being competitive on the backboard has gone out the window. So the Celtics, they got the foul, but it's by luck they're hanging in at the moment.
We have 6:47 to go in the half. It is 44-44. At times, the Celtics have a 23-13 rebounding edge. Laimbeer is back in for Detroit. Tied at 44. Vinnie Johnson on the mismatch has Parish on him. Roundfield baseline, no. Tyler the rebound, no. Bird the rebound.
Good job by Roundfield and Tyler that time, but they still came out of it without a hoop because they have to struggle so much against the Boston front line to just get that shot off. That starts to affect them. Bird outside.
That's his first outside hoop, by the way, and only the second basket of the game for Larry, and the Celtics lead 46-44. Isiah Thomas gracefully floating through the lane for a rainbow-flavored scoop. It'll be Detroit ball coming back.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Go on, too. I'll read a little poetry for
you. Must give credit where it's due. That came from the Detroit statistician who does the running play-by-play. This guy to be writing novels.
I think he did.
Vinnie Johnson for the Pistons. Danny Ainge back in replacing Wedman. Johnson.
That's Johnson's shot. That little lean in. He doesn't appear to be big or strong enough to lean in on bigger guards, but he does, and he does it effectively.
Doesn't make it look very pretty, but it's effective. Rebound of the missed shot, and McHale picks up the loose ball as Detroit turns it over. The Celtics a 3-on-2. The dish off to the Chief from Dennis Johnson, and we're tied at 48. 5:20 to play first half, even at 48 apiece. Johnson, Thomas, Laimbeer, Tyler, and Roundfield for the Pistons. Vinnie Johnson. Laimbeer gets the rebound. Loose ball foul, and Danny Ainge, his 4th of the game. That hurts. Danny was really off to a great start. Picked up his 3rd. Had to sit down with 10 points. Now he's picked up his 4th.
There it is. Vinnie Johnson, just a one-on-one move. That's the play we were talking about. He likes to give you that chest action and just try to jump over you. And he's good at it. He picks up a lot of fouls. That time it didn't go in, but Laimbeer was there to help him.
Ray Williams has replaced Danny Ainge. We're going to get a loose ball foul on Detroit, and the Celtics will be at the line now the rest of the way here in this first half. Just under 5 minutes to play. Detroit is over the limit into the penalty. The Celtics still have a foul to give. And we'll get Ray Williams at the line. Here's Danny.
However, he should be encouraged by his performance that first quarter.
Indeed. Ray with 2 free throws for the Celtics.
Well, that's obviously the best way to combat that, collapse off the guards theory that Cleveland used so effectively is
bury them.
The guards make a few of those 16-footers. Against Cleveland, they were playing the mental game. It caught them by surprise. They hadn't seen it too much this year. They had the year before, and they started thinking about it, and they both kind of went into a mini slump there. I think they've gotten their heads back on straight and hitting pretty well in this series.
Detroit down to 7 on the shot clock. Getting it to Vinnie Johnson. Now Isiah. 3 seconds. He gets the shot off and is fouled by Ray Williams. The 2 free throws that Williams hit, by the way, that'll put Isiah at the line.
By the way, that's the longest longest they've taken off the clock this year.
It might be.
It said, yeah. Well, they're down to about 21 seconds.
Well, they were down right to, I think, the very end. Williams' 2 free throws gives him a perfect 14 for 14 in the playoffs, Ray Williams. The only Celtic who was perfect in the playoffs from the foul line. One more for Isiah, missing the front end. 50-49, Celtics by 1, 4.5 minutes to play. First half. Celtics have Johnson, Williams, Parish, Bird, and McHale out there. Bird. Baseline. Nice little move. Doesn't hit it. Robert Parish rebound. Is foul. Foul is called, I believe, on Laimbeer because he's the one that's jumping around.
There it is. Bird stutter steps his way in. Doesn't get the shot, but it falls into Robert's hands, who's just kind of minding his own business under there and say, hey, thanks, gang. That's kind of what I was looking for, the ball under the basket.
That hurts Detroit because it's the 3rd personal foul on Laimbeer, and he goes out. Earl Curitan comes in for Detroit. Earl has been an effective player for the Pistons this year, but at 6'9", is giving up 3 inches to Robert Parish. One more for the Chief after missing the first one. Robert averaging 17 points a game, 10 rebounds.
Given the importance of this game to Detroit, I think I would hang with Laimbeer a little bit longer here. I think he cannot afford, the way the Celtics have been banging on boards, to have the big guy out of there.
51 all on the hoop by Roundfield with 4 minutes to play in the half. McHale posting up Roundfield. Good night.
Yeah,
hey, that's there every time.
Absolutely. That little jump hook, he's really refined. He's developed great confidence in it.
Williams got a hand on the ball. Roundfield floating through.
Bad shot.
Yep, Bird the rebound. Celtics looking for a 4-point lead. Ray Williams gives it to them.
3 points.
3-point shot by Ray Williams. It's a 5-point lead. That's the first one that Ray has hit in the playoffs. He has played so well for the Celtics since being signed. Getting better all the time. Johnny Long. And we're going to get a foul, I think, on Dennis Johnson here. Yes, fouling Johnny Long.
Tripucka checks back in for Terry Tyler.
That'll give Detroit a lineup of Johnny Long and Thomas at the guards, Curitan at center, Tripucka and Roundfield at the forwards. That's a small club. Long, the biggest guard Detroit has is 6'5", Isiah is 6'1", but Curitan and Roundfield are both 6'9", and Tripucka is only 6'7".
Celtic rebuttals
at the tops
obviously go inside with their offense.
Pound it in
they've been doing effectively anyway. They don't have to wait for Detroit to put a small team in there.
56-52.
Sure, Casey has picked that up.
Now it's 56-53 with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the first half. McHale. Bird trying to post up. Tripucka goes by him, banks it home. Crowd booing. They thought Bird had committed an offensive foul. He did kind of pop him with that shoulder pretty good. Celtics lead back up to 5 points. Defensively, Coos, the Celtics have done a good job in this quarter. Detroit scored only 15 points. Isiah through the lane. Parish picks it off.
Parish kind of flicks Isiah away. I don't have my fly swatter, but why don't you get out of here, little guy?
McHale goes to the floor for the loose ball, and we're going to get a foul on McHale. That will be the 15th foul on the Celtics. Put Detroit in the penalty. Celtics take a timeout. 2.5 minutes left to play here in the first half. Our scores: the Celtics 58 and Detroit 53.
It's hard to tell who the muggy is or the mugger, but
I don't know how McHale ended up with a foul on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Tripucka had the old stranglehold on him.
He appeared to be the muggy, and they call a foul on him.
The second personal on Kevin. Tripucka knocks the first one down.
However, there's very little justice, according to the players in the NBA. So
as Detroit shooting in the second quarter, 6 for 22. So they were 14 of 25 in the first quarter. But as you pointed out, Jump shooters tire as the game goes along, and this quarter they've tired to the point where they've hit 9 fewer hoops.
That fatigue factor is going to start to play a role in the second quarter. They're in trouble, I'll tell you.
That happened at the Garden the other night.
Yeah,
same thing.
Exactly.
McHale, great feed inside to Ray Williams, but he was called for step.
Ray knew it.
58-55. Detroit trailing by 3 with 2:10 to play in the first half. Kelly Tripucka, low to Curitan, swoops inside, gets his own rebound, fouled by Larry Bird.
Good little flurry there on a part of Detroit on that offensive board. We've been talking about their having such a small team in there, but they played big that time down.
First foul on Larry Bird. Earl Curitan shoots 2. Not normally a very good foul shooter at 66.7. However, he has nothing but net on the first one. Look at that contraption he's wearing. Looks like a hockey goalkeeper.
It's an old leftover Al McGuire.
He missed the second one. 58-56. Bird, turnaround, puff. He drops that thing in there like a snowflake falling to earth, doesn't he?
You can be more poetic than that, can't you?
Oh, about that one by Isiah. Coming right back at the other end. Minute and a half to play in the first half. Celtics by 2. Ray Williams. Curitan the rebound. Isiah, Detroit with a chance to tie it. Isiah floating through.
Nice job. Isiah was looking for someone to pass it off to that time, but it never materialized, so he finally took it in himself and made a nice little floater.
60-60. 1:10 to go in the half. McHale posting up Roundfield to Williams cutting. Basket doesn't go. Kevin one more time is fouled. Celtics are just they're playing volleyball off that backboard on the offensive end.
They really can call their offense. Case can go in at halftime and diagram what he wants to run and where he wants to shot from pretty much in the second half, and that's what he'll get. There's the Williams penetration. McHale picking up the trap inside is starting to look for those free guards as they come through.
61-60 the Celtics with 1:02 to play in the half. One more free throw for Kevin. There's his numbers on the night. 13 points for Kevin McHale. Celtics by 2, a minute to play.
A little isolation on Isiah.
Rather a downtown shot to take with a minute to play in the half, Coos.
Yeah, and again the quick one.
Ray Williams back for the Celtics. 48 seconds left in the half.
It's not only not smart basketball to take the quick shot, but it's demoralizing.
McHale trying to go for the tip. Curitan loses it out of bounds. Yeah, demoralizing for the other guys.
Oh, absolutely. The other four are going to want to do the same thing, and for the most part, as we said, they're outside shooters, so they're going to come down and take the quick shot, and pretty soon you've got no offense.
Bird on the inbounds to Williams. 38 seconds left in the half. The steal by Roundfield. Good play.
Yep. He had the overplay. That time it worked.
Detroit swinging it to John Long. They leave him open. Then he ties the game at 62 with 25 seconds to play in the half.
Well played game so far.
Celtics defensively in the first quarter allowed Detroit 38 points. They played them much tougher defensively in the second quarter. Celtics will have the ball practically the rest of the way. Detroit might have a second or 2 on the clock if the Celtics wear it down as far as they can.
There's the isolation Celtics like to use. 4 big men underneath.
Parish has it blocked. Picked off by Curitan. Ahead to Long. Fires a bomb. No, wouldn't have counted anyway. We have come to the end of the first half here at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Game 3 of the Eastern semifinals is tied at halftime, 62-62. Celtics are starting it with Bird, Ainge, McHale, Parish, and, of course, Dennis Johnson.
I think the other thing you can look for is Bird did not really look for his offense the first half. I think you can anticipate an explosion by Bird.
Detroit coming up with a steal on the attempted pass inside to Larry Bird, though it's 64-62 Detroit.
Tripucka matches his field goal output of the first half. He was only 1 for 6 from the field real early in the third.
Parish missing it. Dennis Johnson with a second. Third tips won't go. Celtics continue to dominate the boards, but right now are down by a pair. Isiah along. That's his sweet spot. And Detroit leads 66-62. Opening minute of the third quarter. Johnson all the way through, penetrating for a pair.
And again, they're leaving the guard alone to go down and trap on McHale, but now the Celtics are sending that guard to the basket instead of having him wait out there for the little 15-footer.
Foul on Robert Parish. It'll put Laimbeer at the line. First Celtic foul of the third quarter. And the third on Robert Parish, so that could hurt the backboard domination of the Celtics if he picks up another one shortly. Laimbeer at the line to shoot 2 for Detroit.
Oh, Robert's been a tiger on those backboards.
Sure has.
10 rebounds in the first half. Many of them on the offensive board.
Laimbeer clanks one off the back of the iron. He has one of the more unusual getting ready to shoot foul shot positions I've ever seen. Watch him. He almost hits the floor here as he bends way over. Look at this.
He wants to see what it's like to shoot a foul shot as a guard.
He gets 1 out of 2, and it's a 3-point Piston lead. Ainge had a great first quarter and picked up 3 quick fouls and had to sit down, and then picked up his 4th. There on the cut from Robert Parish is fouled by Kelly Tripucka. That was a super pass from Parish to Ainge, cutting to the hoop. He just left Isiah in the dust. Watch.
See, this kind of searching out for open teammates that we've talked about the Celtics doing so well all season long is what makes an offense go. You know, what makes it tick, what makes it very difficult to defense against. Makes it very difficult to trap people because you know that the person that's trapped is going to look for the free man, and you know the free man's going to move to the opens. In other words, they just get some continuity flowing on selfish play, and that's the only way on this level to run an offense properly.
Isiah, rebound tipped by McHale, long picking it up. Laimbeer, and Detroit moves by 4. Laimbeer having a usual against the Celtics Bill Laimbeer game.
He's shooting well from outside this game. The first one of the 3 that he's done that.
Bird continued to look for McHale. Finally found him, but Kevin missed a little bunny. 69-65 Pistons. Tripucka. Now long straight away.
Well,
Casey wants a timeout.
they may have been a little tired the second quarter from outside.
They'll get tired again.
They generated the batteries here in the third.
Timeout on the floor. 9:56 left, third quarter. Detroit has its biggest lead at 71-56. Here in the third quarter, Cousy, Larry Bird has not looked for his offense so far in this game. I think it's just about time where he's getting ready to take over.
I think you're absolutely right.
Like right there for 2.
How's that for calling it?
Great timing, Larry. Thank you very much. All the way in, Isiah misses, but Kevin McHale is going to pick up the foul, and I believe that's number 3 on Kevin. It is the 3rd on McHale, so he and Parish each have 3.
There's Isiah taking it into the pack.
What does he get off the floor?
Doesn't he get off the floor? Pretty good hang time, waits for the contact. And the good ones will do that. And Isiah certainly qualifies. He matures a little bit in terms of his mental approach to the game. I'll tell you, he could be the premier, if he's not now, point guard. He's played this game.
73-67 Pistons. 9.5 minutes left here in the third quarter. DJ outside, knocks it home. Back to a 4-point game. Well, here comes play number 5. Let's see what it is.
That means make 5 passes. They've got 2 to go. Give it to Roundfield inside.
Nice.
That's a nice move.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy, that's the most cohesive thing that I've seen him do offensively in 3 games, really. Let's look for that number 5 play again next time.
McHale, going to be an offensive foul. That's number 4.
You know, I've been saying that weak side help hasn't been coming over quickly enough to help on a Roundfield front on McHale. That time, Laimbeer got in there, and he picks up. There it is. He's got the good position. Kevin leans in. And that time it goes against the shooter.
That'll bring Cedric Maxwell off the bench and in for the Celtics shortly. Laimbeer Kevin had to be careful there, and Robert Parish gets the rebound. Loose ball foul, and Dan Roundfield of Detroit. Cedric Maxwell will come in for the Celtics. He replaces Kevin McHale. Dan Roundfield has just picked up his 4th personal foul for Detroit. He'll go out, and Benson is in. Benson will guard Maxwell as the 2 number 32s for each side go out. Celtics are down by 6 points. Ainge working at the Parish. Little fake. Tipped in by Dennis Johnson. Great offensive rebounding position for DJ.
Good job by DJ. Ball hung up there just long enough for him to get in position.
Isiah. Wow. Very slick. Detroit again by 6 with 8 minutes to go here in the 3rd. Maxwell for the Celtics. Parish tried to sneak a pass to Cedric. Stolen by Larry Bird. Off to Dennis Johnson. 2. Excellent team defense by the Celtics.
That hurts Detroit just a little bit.
Cuts it back to 4. 7:45 left in the 3rd. Johnson works around the Benson pick to stay with Thomas. Tripucka. And we're going to get a foul. And Laimbeer and Parish go at it. Parish caught him with a right hand to the jaw. And who was the foul on?
I'll tell you, let's see. Parish threw Laimbeer to the floor. Laimbeer thought about it for a while, said, hey, I better make an effort here to retaliate. He did, and Robert was waiting for him. Robert, I don't think Laimbeer wanted to, I think he wanted to make a show, but not that kind of a show. And Robert, see, now he wants him, but let's see what I'll tell you, the officials are going to have a decision to make here. Let's hope they don't.
He gave the foul to Parish. Here it is.
Yeah, there's the initial foul. They were going at it, and Robert just threw him to the floor. Now Laimbeer gets up and wants to jaw a little bit, but Robert was waiting for him.
That's 4 on Robert Parish.
Well,
and the 3rd on the Celtics as a team, so Parish and McHale each have 4.
That's a minimal penalty to pay, really. There it is. Robert gets him a good shot. It was kind of a half slap, half punch, but
it was there.
Good job, and it got Laimbeer's attention. You know, the big guys lean on each other constantly. As we said, this is an emotional game, and the officials just can't keep blowing the whistle. Otherwise, they'd be blowing it all night long once the playoffs begin, because, as I say, there's holding, hanging, grabbing, clawing, spitting, biting going on constantly.
Laimbeer getting both of them. So the Pistons lead again by 6 points, 79-73. Laimbeer and Parish go at it all the time when they play. Bird gets the offensive board. He is fouled by Isiah Thomas, I do believe. No, they're going to give it to Kent Benson. And Larry Bird will be at the line to shoot. The Pistons now with 3 personals as a team in this quarter. The Celtics also with 3.
See, Tripucka continues to ignore his boxing out responsibilities. I mean, it's one thing on Larry Bird. It's one thing to give up 2 or 3 inches on the man you're guarding. But when that ball goes up, you simply have to forget about the rebound yourself and make sure that he doesn't get to the backboard. And Tripucka really has not been doing this. He's been responding to the board throughout this series and allowing a lot of second opportunities for Bird.
Benson sits down with 3 personals, and Tyler replaces him for the Pistons. 1 more for Larry. He gets them both, and it's 79-75 with 7:22 to go in the 3rd. Thomas, Long, Tyler, Tripucka, and Laimbeer out there for Detroit. Again, a very small lineup. Tripucka gets open.
Good ball movement that time. We've been maligning Detroit enough. That Roundfield number 5 they call. They had good movement.
Parish has it blocked, and he is fouled.
And once again that time, and a Tripucka move along the baseline from the weak side.
Roberts at the line to shoot a couple.
Who was that foul on?
That one went to Terry Tyler, his 2nd, the 4th in Detroit. Watch Parish just leave Laimbeer here. Good night.
Yeah, see, Laimbeer doesn't have the agility to front Robert. That's why he's got to give him that position that he pretty much wants inside. So his tools are limited. The big guy works hard, but he needs help from his friends, and he hasn't been getting it quickly enough in this series.
Parish gets the 2 free throws. It's 81-77. Detroit maintains that 4-point edge. They got the first 2 baskets of the third quarter, and they go ahead by 4, and they've stayed pretty much ahead by 4. Laimbeer takes it to Parish. Laimbeer gets the rebound, lays it in. Fouls on Maxwell.
Detroit starting to work a little harder on that offensive board.
Yes, they are.
And it's paying dividends. Watch it. Here it is. Detroit also starting to go inside a little bit more. And that's an improvement on the offense. Laimbeer muscles his way in there. Long keeps it alive. Got to give him credit for that hoop. Came over Danny Ainge's back, I guess, and got a hand on it.
Detroit. Laimbeer puts it down. They have a 7-point lead. 84-77. This is the best stretch of basketball the Pistons have played in this series. These first 5.5 minutes of the third quarter.
I agree. Especially offensively, much better ball movement here momentarily.
Bird swinging open, in and out. Rebound Laimbeer. Stolen by Dennis Johnson. Restolen by John Long. He loses it. Boston ball coming back.
Oh, boy.
Big turnover.
Wow, I'll say 7 points in the ball wouldn't have looked too bad to Chuck Daly with a breakaway in progress.
All right, Johnson inbounds to Danny Ainge, and it'll be a Boston ball. Ainge will put it in play instead. Detroit pressuring the ball. Long on DJ.
DJ uses his body so effectively to avoid the pressure when they get in tight.
Maxwell, rebound. No hoop. Rebound, Tyler.
Celtics continue to get those good opportunities. You know, they're just missing them. That's all. They can't get much closer. Well, it's a block or a charge.
Block. Says Cousy.
Wow. I don't think Dennis agrees, and I know the coaching staff doesn't.
Celtics are over the limit as well. Let's take a look.
Yeah, here we got a better look at it. Well, you got to be squared off.
Technical foul on the Celtics. Right now, the Celtics.
Dennis started to bail out of that a little soon, and I think that may be why it went against them. I think if he'd hung tough, you know, and stayed squared off, they wouldn't have had any choice but to go charge. But he started to turn sideways, and I think that's what brought the call the other way.
Technical foul on K.C. Jones. Tripucka gets it. Pistons lead by 8. Right now, this little flurry could have the Pistons in pretty good shape in the fourth quarter. Well, although we still got 6 minutes to go in the third.
I agree. I think you're going to get Larry Bird time pretty soon.
Third time that Isiah has missed the front end of a 1-and-1 or a 2-shot foul. Third time in the game.
Well, he likes to save the best for the last.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm. See?
All right, I got you. 9-point Detroit lead, their biggest of the game. 86-77. Celtics could use a hoop here to slow a little momentum down. Bird passes it right to Laimbeer. Laimbeer getting it to Isiah Thomas. That's an 11-point lead for Detroit.
That woke the troops up.
Celtics down by 11.
And in the process, Laimbeer cold-cocked Dennis Johnson coming off the offensive board.
Basket doesn't go for Larry, but he was fouled by Kelly Tripucka. Larry will shoot 2 as the Pistons foul came in the act of shooting. It also puts them over the limit. So the Celtics are in the penalty. 2 shots. Right now, the Celtics are down by 11. The Pistons have gone on a 7-0 run, and Bird breaks it. One more shot for Larry. Danny Ainge comes out. Ray Williams comes in for the Celtics. Celtics offense seems to have broken down a little bit, Cousy, here in the third quarter.
Well, you know, I think they had it relatively easy the first half and felt they got over the tough part. You know what I'm saying? They figured probably Detroit was going to come out more docile. This has not been the case. I agree. Detroit has just played their best quarter in the series.
Isiah.
Another spectacular move.
Again, an 11-point Detroit lead. 5:15 left in the third. Johnson working it back to Ray Williams.
Detroit much more active defensively. However,
illegal defense.
Maybe that's why they were so active. They were playing zone.
Bird will put it in play a fresh 24 seconds. But right now, KC has asked the Celtics to call a 20-second timeout, and that's what they're going to get. 20-second timeout called here by the Celtics. Cousy, what do you think? We were talking at halftime about Detroit not really being in the ball game as much as it appeared with the score at 62-all in the first half, and how it appeared the Celtics would be in pretty good shape in the second. But Detroit has played very well in this third, and the Celtics haven't. Now they're down by 11.
I agree. Detroit is a tough team to analyze. You know, they don't seem to respond to the normal.
They're very inconsistent.
Yeah, you know, when you expect them to do one thing, they don't, and then you don't expect them to come out with the kind of emotion they did here in the third quarter, and they did. The Celtics have helped them out a bit in terms of missing all those easy shots. That's always a downer for a team, and obviously an upper for the team who's the recipient of the largesse in any event. But past that, Detroit has worked much harder defensively. You can see them picking up much sooner than they had in any of the past games and denying the ball. And you see everybody fronting. Tyler inside. See this kind of pressure?
Yeah.
We haven't seen it defensively.
Johnson buries one from the baseline. Detroit releases it to John Long, who cruises in and hits.
Good job by Long in controlling that ball till the very last minute.
Again, Detroit by 11 with 4.5 to play in the third. Larry sneaks one in. Back down to a 9-point deficit. 4.5 minutes left. Third quarter. High-scoring game. Laimbeer is left open. Misses it. We're going to get a loose ball foul in Detroit, and that'll put the Celtics at the line as John Long commits the foul.
Yeah, he doesn't agree with it, but not much question. Laimbeer, for some reason, left completely naked there momentarily. Long just comes in and wipes Dennis out. Dennis kind of looked at him when he complained about the foul and said, "You got to be kidding me." You don't think that was a foul?
Will shoot two. Scott Wedman has come in for the Celtics, replacing Cedric Maxwell. DJ averaging just under 14 points a game throughout these playoffs. 7 assists. That's the whole playoffs. The 4 against the Cavs and the 2 coming in here to Detroit.
His first miss from the line tonight. He's had a fine third quarter with 10 points. 11 now.
Celtics are down by 8, 92-84. 4:15 left in the third. Tripucka crashing through and missing. Wedman the bound, and Williams pushing it down, and the Celtics are 3-on-3. Bird 20-footer. Larry time. They're back now to within 6 points.
Yeah, if they continue controlling the backboard the way they have, I still think they're going to come out of here with a win.
Detroit's flurry had pushed them into an 11-point lead. The Celtics have bounced back. Long took steps. Yes, he did. Mike Mathis calling it. Celtics will bring it back down.
If you're going to penetrate, you've got to keep your head up. That time Long had his head buried in the ground and really didn't realize where he was going with it until he hit a lot of bodies.
DJ and now Bird. Turn around on Tripucka. Laimbeer the rebound through the middle to Long. Isiah. Again, it's Detroit by 8.
Not a particularly good shot, but it got nothing but nets. Bird and Tripucka going at it. Keep your eye on that matchup. Wow.
Parish flattened Laimbeer again.
Throws Laimbeer to the ground.
That's number 5 on Robert.
Well, you know, I think the big guy's been leaning on him for 3 games, and Robert's just getting a little frustrated with it. But again, this is what you got to try to avoid. You know, you got to give a little, you got to take a little. And you know, you can't retaliate in the playoffs, at least. During the season, you know, let your frustration hang out. It isn't as important. But in the playoffs, where the big guys need it.
Johnson with a steal, and what do we have here?
Foul, I believe, on DJ.
I think they were on the line and out of bounds with it.
Okay.
It'll be a timeout taken with just under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Detroit 94, the Celtics 86. Celtics were called out of bounds on that steal from Isiah Thomas, so Detroit gets it on the turnover. Here's Isiah with Ray Williams staring him in the eye. Isiah, again, not a very good shot. A good shot selection, but it went. So Detroit leads by 10 again.
Not much you can say in a locker room watching the game film. When the ball keeps going in, you want to say, Isiah, look for a little better shot, old-timer. But, Coach, I got nothing but nets.
McHale is in for the Celtics, replacing Parish, who has 5 personals. Larry hits. McHale has 4, by the way. Celtics have Johnson, Williams, McHale, Bird, and Wedman out there. Isiah Thomas has been the hot man. Ball loose. Ray Williams has it. Here come the Celtics. Down for it. Pass to Bird. To Johnson. Didn't get it. Tough break. Wedman coming up with a steal. However, Tyler got it back. Now he falls down. It's traveling.
Tyler has done everything in a few seconds to lose that ball. I can't believe that. I mean, he tried about as hard as any man could to create a violation. He was finally successful.
Here it comes.
Fine save by Bird here between the legs to DJ. Didn't get that layup, but
back to live action.
Terry Tyler gave him another shot at it.
Dennis Johnson hits to cut it back to 6 points. Good grief. Curitan is in. Replace.
He was 1 minute before.
But he was determined to get a violation.
Here's Long for the Pistons. Curitan sweeping in. Wedman another rebound. He's got 7 in this game. Minute and a half to play, 3rd quarter. Celtics looking to chop it to 4. Pistons' biggest lead has been 11. Bird posting up. Ball is out of bounds off Bird.
Well, he made up for it that time.
Yeah, good defensive play.
Hustling play by Terry Tyler.
Pistons with Thomas, Long, Tyler, Curitan, and Tripucka on the floor. A minute and 10 to go, 3rd quarter. Rebound to Larry Bird.
Tripucka continues to throw it up there with wild abandon. And the result is about the same, and then do a token job really defensively on Bird.
Larry's hit like 4 of the last 5 Celtics hoops here in this 3rd quarter. Down to a 4-point deficit now with 50 seconds to go in the 3rd.
I think as soon as old Bird decides to go to work, it's going to be lights out.
Curitan setting the pick for Thomas. Sweet move by Isiah. He doesn't get the hoop, and it's pinned in off the hands of McHale. Curitan gets credit for it. 6-point deficit with 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Williams finding DJ. He's had the hot hand. No basket. He is fouled by John Long, and Dennis Johnson will be at the line for 2 shots with 22 seconds to go in the 3rd. Vinnie Johnson is in for Detroit, and Isiah Thomas goes out. Cedric Maxwell will come in for the Celtics. Larry Bird will come out. Now Larry gets an extra 22 seconds of time to relax here for a moment.
Time to grab a blow for Bird. Dennis takes the full 9 seconds to shoot the foul shot. That gives him another
18
seconds.
That'd be 40. He'll have a couple of minutes rest.
Take some deep breaths.
One more.
Oxygen.
Dennis Johnson, 22 points in this ball game. 23 for DJ. His playoff high this season has been 24.
And he's averaging 20, so he's... Well, the entire Celtic team really has played well in the playoffs so far. They took them a little while to reach their intensity level in that Cleveland series, but once they found it, they've done well.
Down to 7 on the shot clock, on the quarter clock. Curitan missing a fingertip roll. Loose ball, foul Detroit. Celtics will be at the other end to shoot 2 with 1 second left. Now, with 22 seconds to go, Detroit had the ball. They worked it down to 21 seconds. Did not take a particularly good shot. And then they end up with a foul committed by Curitan with a second to go, and the Celtics with a chance to get there within a pair.
There it is. Curitan just squeezes the ball out. He doesn't shoot it. Long wrestles it away from Max, but not before Curitan had come over the back. So
2 shots for Cedric Maxwell here.
They had it up to 11, but Celtics are right back in the game.
Down to 3 now with 1 second to go in the third quarter. So a good, strong Celtics comeback after the first 6 minutes of the quarter when Detroit played brilliantly to go up by 11. The Celtics just kept sawing wood. And now with 1 second to go in the third, that is the end of the third quarter. The Celtics, with an excellent final portion of the third quarter, have cut it all the way back to 2. So at the end of 3, in game 3 at Joe Louis Arena, it's Detroit 98 and the Celtics 96. But that's pretty much the pattern of the last game as well, Coos, when Detroit scored big in the first and third quarters, did not score that well in the second and fourth. So if it holds to form, their outstanding outside shooting will slow down here in the fourth quarter. I think the Celtics did a great job of coming from an 11-point deficit just by banging away and working hard to get this thing back down to 2.
No, I think Detroit, they have just survived Detroit's best quarter in the 3 games so far, and they were down as much as 11, fought their way back to 2, so I think they're in pretty good shape. The only negative there is that Robert has 5 fouls, and the immediate backup, Kevin, has 4, so that will cause Casey to do a little juggling on the bench. But I also think it's about time for the Bird explosion, so look for Larry when he gets back in to start, I think, taking control a bit more than he has up to now.
Larry had 14 in the third quarter, and Dennis Johnson had 15. Laimbeer bangs it from outside.
Laimbeer's had an exceptional shooting game. His best game by far as well.
Celtics will have Bird back in a moment as he checks into the scorer's table. Williams and Ainge are the guards. McHale, Wedman, and Maxwell are the forwards, or the front court for the Celtics. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Ray Williams, three-pointer, does not get it. Ainge gets the rebound, but it goes to the hands of Isiah Thomas. Detroit with a 4-point lead. We're in the first minute of the fourth quarter. Roundfield, turnaround post up. Johnson, or Williams, sweeping it outside. Vinnie Johnson, line drive.
Johnson has not shot well in the last couple of games, and he's really forcing his offense. In the first game, he was exceptional, but he's really forced it here, and it's hurt Detroit.
Alley-oop to Vinnie Johnson.
That hasn't hurt Detroit. There's a 6'2" man that they're using for the alley-oop play, and that's why it's even more effective, because you obviously don't expect it to go to Vinnie Johnson, even if you've seen it on the game films, you know.
Celtics now down by 6 as the Pistons hit the first 2 hoops of the fourth quarter. Ainge.
Wow, there's a fourth
5 for 5.
I'll tell you what.
In the game. He has hit all 5 shots he's taken in this game. And it's 102 to 98. Vinnie Johnson hammering through. What was that you were saying a moment ago?
That's a good strong move. Yeah.
He's tough.
That time he looked for his offense. No, when he brings it in, fine.
Well,
he doesn't have a bad outside shot, but he should use it to set up his drive to the basket like that, because that's where his strength is.
Going to get a foul inside on Terry Tyler. It'll be the first team foul on Detroit. Bird and Johnson come in for the Celtics. Ray Williams goes out with Scott Wedman. The thing about Johnson is he's so strong. Looks like a linebacker.
What do we got? We got the Johnson drive.
Oh, look at
full
how high
complete extension. Yeah, he's a leaper, and his upper body strength helps him when he gets in amongst the monsters. Casey gambling with Robert Parish here with 10 minutes to go in the last quarter.
McHale's turnaround, and the Celtics have cut it back to 4 points with just under 10 minutes to play in the game. Parish comes back in with 5 personal fouls. Celtics starting 5 is out there. Ainge, Johnson, Parish, McHale, and Bird.
And again, with the 2-0 lead in the series, it allows Casey Laimbeer now starting to do some yeoman work under that offensive board. But Casey can afford to gamble, you know, in a situation like this with the lead in the series that he has.
Bird getting it to McHale. What a great pass that was. Count the hoop. Goaltending on Detroit. Back to a 4-point deficit, 106 to 102. 9:20 to go. It's the second time Detroit has cleared the floor for Isiah. Terry Tyler gets his own rebound. Robert Parish tips it to Larry Bird, and here come the Celtics. DJ's had a great game. Roberts straight away.
Little past his range there.
Detroit ball. Bird and Dennis Johnson each with 23 for the Celtics. Laimbeer and Isiah Thomas each with 26 for Detroit. There's Larry. This is Vinnie Johnson for the Pistons. 4-point Detroit lead. 8:45 to go.
Well,
Johnson's starting to catch fire here in this fourth quarter. He's hurt the Celtics many times in the past. Ainge working it to McHale, that jump hook.
Again, Laimbeer, you notice just half a second late getting over there, and that's as much time as Kevin needs to spin away from that front pressure along the baseline for the little half hook. Good job again.
McHale, the block. Johnson saved it, and he goes into the crowd just off to our right into press row, but he's okay. It'll be a Detroit ball. Tyler to put it in play for the Pistons. 108-104. They clear the floor for Isiah again.
Isiah waves them off.
Tyler hits. Pistons are continuing to shoot well. They haven't slowed down here in the fourth.
Well, Tyler missed a couple of 2 or 3 footers and then went out and made a 13-footer.
And a foul on Laimbeer, fouling McHale, and Kevin will go to the line.
Celtics concentrating completely on that Roundfield McHale matchup now.
That's 4 on Bill Laimbeer. Second on Detroit in the fourth quarter. Celtics don't have any.
See, if nothing else, it always produces a good shot for them by going into McHale low. They know they can get it to him. Roundfield's trying to front, but the high lob gets it to Kevin every time. He waits for the weak side pressure to come, but even if he misses the shot, he's got whoever Laimbeer is leaving, in this case Robert, coming in on an offensive board, free as a bird because Laimbeer's left him. So they're going to get something positive out of going to McHale just about every time down the floor.
Down to a 4-point deficit again. Detroit leading at 110-106. Thomas and now Vinnie Johnson, who's had a big fourth quarter. Tyler springs up in the air. Oh, he really gets up there, isn't he?
Celtics doing a little something different here in the last quarter, if you notice. They're sending the other guard over to trap Thomas wherever he happens to be. It's forcing Thomas to get the ball out of his hands.
Another foul.
Well,
McHale drew it on Vinnie Johnson.
Getting into some early foul trouble as well, which should help the Celtics in a stretch.
3 team fouls on Detroit.
So what they're doing is, here's the, again, going into McHale. There's your trap. And the foul on Vinnie Johnson. What it's forcing Detroit to do is go to someone else to win the game, obviously. Now, Tyler's responded with a couple of hoops. But they just want to get the ball out of Isiah's hands. They feel Isiah, in the last quarter situation, you know, can beat him with his sensational moves. But so the trap takes the ball away from him.
1 out of 2 for Kevin McHale. So the Celtics now trail by 5. 7.5 minutes to play in the game. Thomas getting it to Vinnie Johnson. Tyler. Deep rebound goes to Roundfield. But Detroit gets a fresh 24. They've been getting more offensive rebounds in this second half as well. In and out, not that time. Bird the rebound. DJ's been hot. Stays that way. 25 points for Dennis Johnson. That's a playoff high this season for DJ. His career high in the playoffs is 33 points.
I'll tell you, Detroit may very well win it, but it'll surprise me because Celtics continue to create much better offense. Shot selection and what they're getting. Tyler, you know, see, one guy like that getting hot, making 18-footers can negate everything you say in terms of the flow of the game, but it'll still surprise me, as I say. If they continue to go inside to Bird and McHale, the law of averages should start to work in their favor.
Bird outside, no. Rebound Isiah. Detroit with a 5-point lead and the ball with 6:15 to go in the game. Tyler springs up again. Misses this one, and Johnson has the rebound for the Celtics. Oh, Bird spinning on Tyler beautifully. That is the 4th team foul in Detroit. They are at the limit. The Celtics haven't picked up any team fouls yet, and Detroit wants a timeout. 6:03 to play in the basketball game. It is Detroit 114, Celtics 109. To play in the game. The Celtics down by 5 points. Celtics trailed by 4 at the first quarter. We were tied even at halftime. Celtics were down by 2 after 3 quarters. Right now they trail by 5, but a very important statistic in this ball game right now is the fact that with 6 minutes to go in the game, Detroit is at the limit in team fouls in this quarter, and the Celtics have 4 to give yet. They haven't committed a team foul yet.
I think you're right. The officials may very well decide who wins the game in terms of the penalty situation for Boston, and the fact that they can go inside as they have been, continue to.
Oh, Bird gets Tyler in the air, feeds off to McHale for 2. Was that
job.
Sweet?
Plus 3 of the Pistons have 4 fouls on them. Roundfield, Laimbeer, and Tyler. And, of course, Parish has 5.
And McHale 4.
McHale 4.
Shooting in this fourth quarter, the Celtics are at 62%. And Detroit is at 47. Roundfield to put it in play. Pistons leading by 3. Isiah. He's got 26 points and 13 assists to this point in the game. 3-pointer. Roundfield muscles it back up. Tyler gets it.
I'll tell you, Tyler's the guy doing the damage, boy.
He killed him here in the last game when we played here in the regular season, remember?
I'll tell you, from the time he created that violation, he's gone wild, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
I think he got upset. We made fun of him, and he retaliated.
Bird on the miss. Laimbeer the rebound. Pistons by 5. 5 minutes to go. Big possession. Tyler's been the man.
Good job.
7-point lead for Detroit with 4:50 to go.
Who's guarding Tyler? Well, who isn't guarding him? Let me put it that way. I guess it's
Bird.
Bird to match up.
Parish swinging on Laimbeer. Doesn't get it. Tyler gets the rebound. Time for the Celtics to lay a little defense out here, Cousy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Going to get a blocking foul. I think it's on Parish. Let's see. Or is it Ainge? It is Ainge.
5 on
That's going to be
Danny.
5 on Danny, but that's the first team foul on the Celtics here in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's not the worst thing, because it stopped the break that was in progress and probably took 2 points away.
Right now the Celtics are down by 7 with 4:20 to go in the game. Tyler, low to Roundfield, missing. Laimbeer the rebound. McHale gets the missed shot.
Detroit continuing to get some second opportunities on that offensive board here in the second half.
Overthrown by Dennis Johnson. The Celtics throw it away with 4 minutes to go in the third.
Celtics starting to unravel here in the last quarter. Again, out of character.
20 turnovers for the Celtics. That's been their biggest bugaboo in this game. They've turned the ball over 20 times. Right now down by 7. Detroit with a chance to go up by 9. The Celtics have really got to go to work defensively here, like right there with Robert Parish on the steal. Bird, alley-oop to Robert, but it's tipped by Vinnie Johnson. What a great play.
Fine defensive play, although again a little carelessness on the part of the Celtics. You've got some points to make up with 3 minutes. Probably don't want to go to the high lob, but you know, you had Robert down low in a mismatch. He just didn't throw it quite high enough to give Robert a chance at it.
All in all, an outstanding play by Vinnie Johnson to take away what appeared to be a sure Celtic hoop.
Well, Vinnie continues to fool you. You know, we said that the alley-oop to him was more effective because no one expects the 6'2" guard built like him to jump that high. And the same thing caught Bird by surprise in terms of his jumping ability defensively. You know, he threw the lob to Parish, figuring all he had to do was get it over his head. But old Vinnie went up there and got a hand on it.
So we are down to 3.5 minutes to play in the game, and the Celtics are down by 7. The Celtics have scored only 15 points here in the fourth quarter, and Detroit has scored 20.
Well, so far Detroit has saved their best basketball for the second half here in the third game. You know, it was expected they'd come out like Tigers, and they've been more aggressive and intense here in the second half of the game.
Roundfield has it blocked by Bird. Detroit with 10 on the shot clock. Tyler's been smoking.
Tyler wants it, doesn't he?
He is on fire. 14 points, and he has hit 5 of his last 7 shots. Detroit by 9. We have a foul on Detroit. The Celtics will be at the line.
I tell you,
Pistons over the limit.
The Celtic trap is taking the ball out of the hands of Isiah, who they anticipated would put on the kind of show that Tyler's put on. Well, on this level, you know, there are enough guys. Generally speaking, you've got to, again, go with the percentage. You know, Bird on Boston and Isiah here in Detroit. But there are a few other guys that can put on a show for you as well, as Tyler is proving to us.
Celtics cut it back to 7 with 3:10 left. Vinnie Johnson careening through. McHale the rebound. Celtics come out 3-4 on 2. Johnson open jumper. Good. Couple of quick ones by the Celtics, and they're back to within 5 with 2:49 to go. This one will go to the wire, I think.
Plenty of time. They've got 3 fouls to waste, so they've got to get a little more aggressive defensively. There's the trap on Isiah. Take it out of his hands. Force Johnson or Tyler to make the play.
Tyler with Bird in his face. Tyler hit it anyway.
They need a little more pressure than that now. It's coming down to the wire, obviously.
Ainge outside. McHale battling for the rebound. Roundfield has it. So the Celtics trail by 7 with 2:15 to go.
Got to stop them this time down, I think, if they want a shot at the game.
Well, they've still got a couple of fouls to waste, but not too much time to waste them, because pretty soon we'll be inside of 2 minutes, and it changes. Tyler. Roundfield tipping it back to Thomas. 2 minutes to go.
Celtics getting all the bounces. Excuse me, Detroit getting all the bounces at this point. A little matchup here. Isiah
whacked away by McHale. And he's called for traveling.
Well, I don't know if we can see it on the replay. We couldn't quite pick it up in live action.
Timeout, Celtics. 1:45 to go. Pistons are up by 7.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Wow, good call.
Yep, he palmed the ball.
Wow. God, he had taken 2.5, 3 steps, and the ball was still upstairs.
1:45 left. Detroit has the ball and a 7-point lead. And the Pistons have played superbly in the second half. Matter of fact, they've outplayed the Celtics considerably in the second half. The Celtics had outplayed them in the first, but were in a tie because of the turnovers. Good pressure, but they get it to Laimbeer. Now Roundfield. Detroit to be smart just to let some of the air out of the ball and take some time off that clock.
Yeah, because they can run it down. Celtics are going to foul, and they can afford to waste a couple, as we told you. But no, I'm sorry, they've only got one to waste in the last 2 minutes.
Air ball, and a foul will be called on Vinnie Johnson. So Bird will shoot 2 with 1:21 to go. And a chance for the Celtics to get to within 5 points.
Detroit continues to amaze me, though. You know, they've got everything going for them. They've got the ball. They run the clock down, and then Laimbeer takes it. What was that, about a 21-footer? Watch.
It is a 21-footer. That line is at 23.
You know, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what they're thinking about, but evidently they're thinking the right things because they're going to win the game, it appears.
Bird makes it a 6-point deficit, 122 to 116. One more for Larry. He has 24 points right now. Five-point game, and enough time left. 121. Dennis Johnson on Vinnie Johnson. No relation.
Ainge denying Thomas. They want to keep it out of his hands. Now they don't.
Tyler's still in the game. Vinnie getting it off to Laimbeer, and a foul will put Laimbeer on the line.
Good job by Vinnie Johnson. Now he penetrated as if he wanted to go up for the basket, but I think he knew all along he was going to draw a crowd, and he was just looking for a white shirt to lay it down to. It turned out to be the biggest target on the floor.
1:03 to go in the game. Celtics trailing by 5, and Laimbeer shooting 2 for the Pistons.
Need a couple of misses here.
Now, one will be sufficient.
That'll help.
So now
still sets up a couple of 3
You still got your shot.
Yep.
One more for Laimbeer after missing the front end. of the 2 shots. And he gets the back end to make it 123 to 117. 6-point game. Minute to go. Ainge pumps it up. Doesn't get it. Rebound Pistons. And with 50 seconds to go, Detroit leads by 6. Celtics will need a couple of 3-point hoops. They'll have to stop them first, and then they'll have to go to the 3-pointer. Isiah just putting on a show, dumping it off to the man who's been responsible for the Detroit lead, Terry Tyler.
And that should just about do it.
17 in the game for Tyler. 3-pointer by Johnson. Bird battling for it. Isiah has it. Detroit's going to win the game. And what appeared at halftime like it would be a Celtic victory when we got down to the final analysis is going to be a Detroit victory, Coos. So that I think when you get back to what is all said and done,
Laimbeer and Bird joining at it. They look like they want to.
it's going to be turnovers that hurt the Celtics. That's all over with now.
No, give Detroit credit.
Yeah, they
it
played
appeared
well.
Boston, had pretty good control of it at halftime, and even through the 3rd quarter. Detroit just came out and got a job done. It's just that simple, and the Celtics let down a little bit.